is murder. War is hellish and war is utterly horrific. But sometimes, wars can lead to incredible scientific breakthroughs and innovations. For instance, war gave us radar, computers, the internet, and would you believe war even gave us M&Ms? No, I'm really not joking, so let's find out how. So, to get started, let's take a closer look at what exactly M&Ms are. I think we would all agree that the most unique and defining trait of M&Ms is their hard outer shell that seals the chocolate inside. So, from a technical standpoint, that hard coating would make M&Ms fall into the dragée category in confectionery. A dragée is defined as a bite-sized form of confectionery with a hard outer sugared shell. Now, obviously, M&Ms aren't wholly unique in this respect, as there are many dragée type chocolates on the market these days, but that wasn't always the case. In fact, the process of making dragée type chocolates is actually thought to go all the way back to 18th century France, where dragée type Jordan almonds were an extremely popular snack for the French. This type of popular candy and the manufacturing process utilised to make them would not go unnoticed outside of France for very long, however, and soon, a candy company located in Britain would begin to use this same process to manufacture what they called chocolate beans from 1880 onwards. This company was called Rowntree, and these chocolate beans would be an immensely successful product for the growing Rowntree company. However, some years after creating chocolate beans, Rowntrees would have to rename the product due to trading standards, and the fact that they didn't really resemble beans all that much anyway. So these dragée type chocolate beans would eventually be rebranded as Smarties. In 1920s Minnesota, a 38-year-old chocolate entrepreneur, Franklin Clarence Mars, founded the Mar-O-Bar Company and began developing and manufacturing chocolate candy bars. The Mar-O-Bar Company would find much success early on, thanks in great part to Franklin Mars' son, Forrest Mars, who created the Milky Way candy bar, which would then go on to become the most popular candy bar in the United States. Despite this success, however, Franklin and Forrest Mars would have a major falling out due to a disagreement about expanding the company internationally. And later, Franklin would buy his son Forrest out of the company, which was then known by that time as Mars Incorporated. Forrest subsequently moved to Europe and travelled all around the continent until 1932, where he set up his very own company, Mars Foods, in the UK, and there he would create and manufacture the now world famous Mars bar and Maltesers. A few years later, Forrest was on a business trip in Spain around 1937 during the Spanish Civil War, and there he noticed how Spanish soldiers were eating a type of candy in their rations that would not melt in the hot summer sun and was also small and easily transportable. These candies were most likely either Smarties or possibly a Spanish derivative, but they inspired Mars to begin thinking about manufacturing his own variety of this unique hard-coated candy. Forrest Mars would move back to the United States soon after, and there he would begin to develop and manufacture his own hard-shelled Smarties type candy. Around this time, he would meet Bruce Murray, son of William Murray, who was the current president and head of Hershey's Chocolate, which was the largest chocolate company in the United States at the time. Forrest needed a partner to help develop his new product, and as he was also anticipating an upcoming wartime shortage of chocolate, a partnership with Bruce was desirable, as Hershey's had been given control of the wartime chocolate rationing in the United States, and so any new product would have to use Hershey's chocolate. The two men came to an arrangement, with Murray having a 20% stake in their new company, which they would creatively call Mars and Murray, or M&M Limited for short. Mars and Murray were then granted a patent for their new hard-shelled candy product, and manufacture of it would begin in early 1941, with their new product being called, yes, you guessed it, M&Ms. Now that Mars and Murray had successfully developed and manufactured their first new product, they needed to begin selling it. As fate would have it, and fittingly so, a product that was inspired by wartime rations was very appealing to the US Army, who became not only M&M Limited's first customer, but their only customer, as the US Army wanted the candies to be made exclusively for them throughout the duration of the war. The Army saw the same advantages for M&M's use in rations as the Spanish soldiers did with Smarties. They were small, light, full of energy and easily transportable, but most importantly, the hard shell prevented them from melting and helped them to hold up better under the rigours of everyday combat.
That's ordinary chocolate candy. It's melted. But this one, there's no chocolate mess. Because M&M's milk chocolate melts in your mouth, not in your hand.
The soldiers immediately loved them, and they were seen as a huge improvement over the de-rationed chocolate bars that were previously supplied to troops that they despised so much they even nicknamed them Hitler's secret weapon. And so, this kept the demand for M&Ms skyrocketing throughout the war as the US military continued to order them in greater and greater quantities. When the war concluded in 1945, the returning troops continued to want M&Ms as a snack, which helped to keep up demand, but it wasn't until 1948 that M&Ms were finally released to the general public for sale, and they would become a huge hit almost immediately, with combat veterans and civilians alike. The demand for M&Ms kept rising, which kept the company growing and growing until Mars and Murray ultimately fell out due to many major business disagreements, ending with Mars buying Murray out of the company, with the two men then going their separate ways. Soon after, M&M Limited would be brought under Mars Incorporated and folded back into the larger company. The Hershey's chocolate inside M&Ms would then also begin to slowly be replaced with a chocolate variety of Mars' own creation, effectively ending any association between Mars and Hershey's, who by now were also each other's biggest rivals in the American confectionery market. Whilst M&Ms may have originally been inspired by and utilised in warfare, today they are now beloved worldwide and are available in over 100 countries. They now come in over 30 varieties, and thanks to their sturdiness were not only the military's top choice of candy, but NASA's too, when they became the first candy in space in 1981. And as for their current status with the US military, yes, they are still packed into military MRE rations to this day, though the army sadly just doesn't like to use brand names anymore. Thanks for watching, and if you found this topic as intriguing as I did, don't forget to drop a like and remember to subscribe if you want to see more intriguing content like this in the future.